where brevity is paramount.
Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton, and with me, as always, is Chet Roivas.
What happening?
So, if you haven't listened to the podcast before, it's really simple. We both do a top 10 list of the games we've been playing the most this week, and rattle through them one by one, 10 being the game we played the least, 1 being the game we've played the most. So, enough wittering from me. Let's start with Chet's number 10.
Okay, right, my number 10 is Dragon's Lair on the Xbox 360.
Oh, Jesus.
You played it?
No, but yeah, Dragon's Lair.
I almost bought it because I thought it was Space Ace.
Right.
Which is the same thing, but it's set in space. Yeah. I'm very glad I didn't. I mean, it's a really interesting museum piece, but you have to be fucking nuts if you shell out £800 for like a very, very dated...
£800?
£800, sorry. 800 points. It's ridiculously brutal, obviously, because it was designed for you to waste as much money as you possibly can, and it doesn't even work that well. I mean, the QTE prompts, the little arrows, they're really small and they kind of blend into the background. So
did it even used to have
that's
little
what
QTE prompts?
See, I remember playing Space Ace on the Amiga, and I remember saying to my mate, "How do you do that bit?" "Oh, you press left." So you just have to, every time you get to a bit, try left, right, up, down, and one of them would work. I mean, it's a shitty game. The only reason I would have bought Space Ace is because I spent so much time playing that, because back then on the Amiga it was the best, it was amazing. Even though every time you died, which normally took 5 seconds, you'd have to stick a load, you'd have to reload discs every time.
Yeah.
But it's not even a very good port. It's, you'd have to be a nutcase to buy it.
I can't believe they're still making money off that shit.
Are they though? Has anyone bought it? Someone will have bought it.
It's not. It can't have cost them that much to do the port.
No, you're right.
Buy them.
No,
museumers.
Yeah, stay away. Really, it was crap then, and it's crapper now somehow.
The last time I played Dragon's Lair was on a DVD where you used the menu buttons as the QTE buttons, and unsurprisingly, it didn't work very well.
Wow.
Yeah, we had Space Ace and Mad Dogma Cree 2.
So what, with a DVD remote?
Yeah. You just press buttons. It wasn't very good.
Yeah, sounds shit.
And Space Pirates. I don't even know what that is. But we had it.
I almost bought it. I'm glad I didn't. The trial's enough. Try the trial. See what you think. You'll hate it. Job done.
Really. My number 10 is a game I'd say is slightly better than Dragon's Lair. It's Halo Reach. So, being a nerd and a bit of a loser, after watching the Halo 4 footage at E3, I decided, right, I'm going to go through Halo Reach again on Legendary, like I've been talking. So I stuck it in, played it very, very briefly, and then realised I didn't really have time to play Halo Reach right now. But I'm more Halo-y at the moment.
Did you start from scratch?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good, was it?
Oh, I love that game. I love Halo. I'm a fucking Halo loser, as people who know me will know. First I thought, okay, I'm going to play through all of them again before Halo 4 comes out, which is obviously a ridiculous idea. Finding the time to get through one level is a struggle, let alone all the games. But, it's nice to say these things and think about them. Sometimes that's almost as good as playing them for me.
I haven't given up on Halo Reach. I've still got my Legendary. It's still there. I take pigeon steps every couple of months, and hopefully if the drought during the summer is as bad as it normally is, hopefully I'll have time to finally finish it on Legendary.
Yeah, we've got a couple of dry months coming up, haven't we, before things start happening again, really. Especially July. July's nothing's happening. So, Halo. Chiefy. It's not Chiefy. It's the Reachy boys, whoever they are. The Reach-arounds.
Classic. Okay, right, my number 9 is Slide on the iPhone. Played it?
No, is it a Fight Club game?
No, it's... What makes you say that?
Because that's what the little penguin says, isn't it? Slide.
Does the penguin speak?
Yeah.
The penguin doesn't
jumps
say...
in.
Oh,
yeah, he jumps in and he goes, slide.
God, I can't remember that.
I don't know how I did.
In many ways, it's the perfect iPhone game. All it is, it's free. All it is, when you want to unlock your iPhone, you slide across to unlock it.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Sounds great.
Slide one, another one. Slide one. You have to basically keep sliding until they fill up the screen and you die, essentially. I mean, it
sounds wank. It doesn't sound like a perfect iPhone game.
It does. It's because you pick it up, you do it, 30 seconds, done. It's surprisingly entertaining. I mean, the guy that thought of it, I can't commend or diss what he's done, because he's taken something that shouldn't be fun, and I actually found it quite entertaining. I'm glad there's not leaderboards, because that I could get sucked in even further. But yeah, Slide. Great way to...
How did you come across it?
My missus had it, and she was hooked on it. So, I mean, her being hooked on it lasted about a day, as did mine. I'm not going back to it. It was fun for about 2.5 minutes or whatever it was. Done.
I'll probably play it. You know, I'm like with iOS.
Yes.
Right, my number 9 is probably something that will appear later on your list. Is Battlefield 3. I've just I downloaded the giant update. I've hooked up Premium, and I was having a little fiddle through what that's going to be. Waiting for the close quarters maps next week on Xbox, and still getting fucked off with the server situation. I took a real look at it this time, and to make sure that there was no obvious and easy way of getting into a decent server. And you'll know this much better than me.
Yeah.
There's not even a way of defining what is a decent server, what is an official server. It's you type in DICE into the search, and everybody's written DICE before their server names as some sort of trick to get you in. I don't know why. So
have they done that? I haven't noticed that at all. The only DICE ones I've seen are official.
So if you type in DICE, all the ones that say DICE are official.
To be fair, I haven't searched
DICE. DICE like stupid things afterwards, like first to 500 or grinding server or something like that, and it's nothing that DICE would write, probably.
No, I haven't seen it. To be fair, I haven't typed DICE into search, but when I scroll down, you see like a couple of DICE servers, and they look authentic. They've never had any shit written after them, but yeah, it is a little bit of a problem now, and I hope that there are plans to bring some more official servers back, but there probably won't be.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was 1,000 servers available, all of which seem to be rented by users. So why would they?
Yeah, true.
It's just cash money.
I'll speak briefly about Battle. Did you play after the patch?
No, I haven't. It's pathetic, really. But,
okay.
Yeah.
So you basically just scoured the menus for a bit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's number 9.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Right, my number 8 is Calculator on the iPhone.
The calculator?
It was a joke because you've been going around menus. Forget it. Okay, my actual number 8 is 100 Floors. And 100 Floors on the iPhone. You played it?
No, but that was quite a good gag. Apologies for ruining it.
All right, no worries. 100 Floors on the iPhone. When I said that Slide was the perfect iPhone game, I don't know why I said that. What I meant to say was that 100 Floors is the perfect iPhone game. And it's free. If you have an iPhone, just go and get it. It's terrific.
No, I have heard of this one, but I don't really know much about it.
It's great. It's basically like 100 floors. Start on floor 1, you have to open the lift. Go up, floor 2. It's just a series of 100 puzzles that get increasingly more and more difficult, and they use all of the features on the iPhone. I don't want to give any away because it's really rewarding when you figure some of them out. So you can move stuff around, you can tilt the phone, can sometimes help solve some of them. And it's just like, you get to a certain point and it starts getting really, really difficult. But I've figured out some really tough ones. I'm like, wow, that's really clever. And it's just... there's no sort of... You can literally stop it and start it whenever you want because it's just a stationary screen. Figure it out. You're good to go. It's just really, really impressive. I don't know. I mean, I'm on 30, I think, and it's already started to get really, really difficult. But I don't know how... I don't know if it gets really, really hard. When I searched for it on the iPhone, there were about 6 cheats and solutions apps for how to get to the end of it, so I presume it does get pretty snide later on. But yeah, fantastic. Fantastic.
All right, yeah.
Get it.
100 floors.
100 floors.
I will. Yeah, that sounds good.
Genuine.
That does sound good. My number 8 is Batman Arkham City again.
Okay.
Just going back into the game last week with the Harley Quinn stuff, I just wanted to go and fiddle around, see if I could do some more Riddler challenges because I didn't finish them, and just ended up flying around and getting my head around the flying mechanics again and enjoying the city. I don't know if I'll ever get to the end of the Riddler challenges on this one. I think there's just too many, and the city's it's quite small, and it doesn't in Arkham Asylum, when you were going through the Riddler challenges, it did a better job of kind of tying a narrative around it, whereas this you only get narrative chunks after every 10, whereas I think in Arkham Asylum you're getting them after almost every Riddler trophy. So it is arduous, and while some of the puzzles are clever, it's you're in this amazing game and you're doing something quite trivial ultimately once you've hit sort of 150 to 200 of the little fuckers. So I said I would do it a long time ago, but I don't know if I actually will. But I don't think I'll be getting the Wii U version where you fucking piss about on
that looks
on
pretty
the
cool.
Wii U controller.
Do you not
it just made it look cheap.
The controller or the game?
The whole game on that conference just looked cheapened to me somehow.
That's weird.
I don't know why.
I thought that what a perfect excuse, providing they have all the DLC in it. I just thought what a perfect excuse to go through it again. I thought it looked quite neat. Whether it will be neat, I don't know. It might be complete and utter shithouse, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to that version of it. I might, put the 360 one on the back burner and give that a go when it comes out. Possibly.
It's probably nothing about the game or even what they do with it. It's more the way they presented it. Kind of gave me those vibes of dirty casual games that don't have any substance to them. And I was thinking, you're talking about such a magnificent piece of work as if it's the same sort of shit as carnival games that just toying around with this. It's entirely the way it was presented, nothing to do with the game or the people that are making it. So it's just me being weird.
Okay.
But I think you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. I'm looking forward to speaking about that when it comes out, because I was really not impressed, but I'm looking for an excuse to go through that again, and that's the perfect one as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 7 is Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Still doing guerrilla mode, which is basically Horde. I think I'm coming to the end of being done with it. Just because it's not something that bothered me initially, but the drabness of the visuals, I mean, it really is not... I mean, it's such an... Not ugly is the wrong word, it's just drab. It's just too... It looks almost
like... greys and...
Yeah,
browns.
And it's sort of hazy, and it looks almost like it was originally... it looks like it was initially created on last-gen hardware and then sort of updated, because it does look... almost like, that kind of weird haziness that was always on N64 games to mask the fact that they had, you couldn't do any draw distance. So
yeah,
it kind of looks like that sometimes. I mean, it's still fun, and I still think it's a terrific game. And it's only because I play all of these Horde modes on all of these fucking shooters that I'm kind of done with it. But it is the best one, I think, outside of Gears of War. And it's sort of, and we tried co-op on the campaign. It's very cool in many ways. You get into these situations where you sort of basically break off in 4 directions and you have a standoff. One of you will go to... You're never doing the same thing. So one of you will duck holding a hostage in the corner with a pistol. Another one will dive under the car and shoot people from under the car. That's really, really cool.
That does sound cool.
It is, but the bits when you're in the streets... clearly not designed for 4 people at once, because there's bits where you have to get into cover and there's not enough room for 4 people, so one of you has to keep running back, and it doesn't quite... We had fun doing it, but the appeal's dulled slightly. And Horde is... Again, I've done Horde too many times. As much as I enjoy it, I don't think I'll go back to it. And multiplayer is just fearsome, because people are playing it in teams of 4 and 5. And when you've got that level of organisation, you're fucked. So I'm just dying a lot. I love the game, but I don't think I'm going to persevere with it, to be honest.
Yeah, you've got a decent chunk of time out of it, though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, no, that's why. I mean, I don't take anything away from anything I've ever said about it. I think if you've shelled out 40 quid for that, you are going to get your money's worth. And I think it's a surprisingly good game in all departments. But I think I'm done personally.
Yeah, I was chatting to some guys I train with, and they were playing it. They're kind of the COD crew, I'll call them,
Yeah.
But they've obviously played Ghost Recon in the past, and they were really happy with it. So that, only on a small sample of people, but they seem to be chuffed with it.
It's very good indeed.
It does what it sets out to do.
It's very impressive. I'd still say if you see it one day, do the campaign. It's a swift 8-10 hours, and it's very entertaining indeed.
Well, as we find a little gap in the schedule, I'm going to try and catch up on a few things. Unfortunately, they seem to all be shooters, apart from Catherine. But
Catherine, you've got
future episodes should have some stuff I go back to that's come out this year. Stuff like Binary Domain, Darkness, Ghost Recon, Catherine, other things I've forgotten about.
Genuine.
But there are a few bits and bobs I want to play.
Nice one.
My number 7 is a game called, this is hard to say, Rock _S Rider. Fuck knows why it's called that. I don't even know what that means. It is Trials on the iPhone to the point where it's even in a warehouse and it looks exactly like Trials HD, not Evolution HD. Unfortunately, it's also a bit of a piece of shit because, fundamentally, the way Trials is successful is the fact that you have analog acceleration and very subtle analog weight shifting on the bike. This does the weight shifting with the tilt, which, there's room for subtlety there, whereas the acceleration is just an iPhone button. There's nothing you can do about that. I've played Trials style games on the iPhone that work around this by not being anywhere near as fiddly as Trials, and they're still fun. This attempts to be as fiddly or even fiddlier than Trials almost straight away, even 3 levels in. It's really difficult and complex, but the physics just aren't up to it at all. And for some reason, the track design has loads of low beams, so you just fucking drive through and hit your head and fall off, and there's almost nothing you can do. You have to press forward at the exact right time just to kind of jimmy your rider in the wrong position so he goes underneath it. And the checkpoints, in Trials, when you crash, you'll only go back a second or something, especially on a tricky obstacle. This will send you back 3 obstacles. So, yeah, by 20 minutes in, I was just wanting to chew my iPhone in half. It's an admirable effort in that it really does look the business. It looks like a console game, but it doesn't. It kind of shows how good Red Links are, because they really have not got what makes Trials so special in this game.
Is it new?
Yeah.
How much is it?
It's there's a free trial.
Okay.
And then I think it's a couple of quid for the main game. So, like I always say, it's all relative. I mean, ultimately, you can justify the outlay on almost any of these games at any time. I mean, £2, but it's all about the amount of time you spend on them rather than the money, I think.
Yeah. That sounds really, really quite shit. I might have a look at it though. I want to see what it looks like.
Well, yeah, there's the free one there, and certainly for one level in, you'd be like, fucking hell, this is Trials on a phone. But yeah, fundamentally, it isn't.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds shite. Okay, my number 6 is Grand Theft Auto 3 on the iPhone. I hooked it up. I started playing it, and as soon as it looks incredible. It looks as good as it did. Or it looks better than it did. And because I never played. Well, I played Grand Theft Auto 3 in fits and starts, but Vice City is the first one I sat down, bought myself, and played through from beginning to end. Whereas 3 was word of mouth, have a go, do a level, and I was like, yeah. But at that point, I was like all about the Xbox and the GameCube, so I wasn't really. I was like, hey, you can have your Grand Theft Auto, I don't care. And seeing it start up, I was like, fuck. I mirrored my iPhone to my Apple TV, and I started playing it. I was like, wow. Just seeing it on the screen, I was like, I'm going to take a day off work or something and just blast this game from beginning to end. The controls aren't perfect, that's the problem. And the mirroring works perfectly, but you have to keep looking at the controls because they're very, very precise. Combat's fiddly as it was in Chinatown Wars. And there's an awesome Android patch you can do to your phone where you can basically sync up a DualShock and play with the DualShock and if you could do that with the iPhone, I could put it onto Apple TV and basically have it. I mean, there's nothing stopping me going out and buying a fucking PS2 and playing it, but I don't know what else to say about it. I don't think if you really have a desire to play this, as I do, this is not the way to play it because the controls are, they're far from ideal. Although they work fine, it's just when you're in combat where it's way too imprecise.
The problem with GTA 3 is it gets really, really fucking hard quite quickly once you're on a second island. I mean, doing it on a PS2 these days with the old controls as they were is going to be almost impossible given 10 years of refinement in the way these games are controlled. Doing it on a phone is just no point. It's fucking way, way, way too hard. I just see that game as just a beautiful museum piece that everybody should own if they've got the phone, especially when it's cheap. Just to have it. I said it last week, and just to see how far we've come. And it is arguably the most influential game of this century so far. I think that's certainly up there. So it's amazing to have it on phone. I do need to check it out mirrored. Actually, I forgot to do it after saying last week. I'd like to see it.
I mean, it looks better than it ever has done. The only problem is I was like, wow, and then you stop playing it as if you've got a pad in your hand, and you can't work out where your fingers are going and stuff like that. So that was disappointing. I don't have the time to play it. I'd like to play it. I don't know what I'm saying. It's great.
Yeah, the missions aren't actually that good in GTA 3 as it goes on. Yeah, I mean, it was experimentative in that way. Is that a word? I don't know. Yeah, they only started really getting their heads around the missions in Vice City, I think. So I don't think you're missing out too much. It was more about just the amazing achievement and experience of being in this living city.
Yeah.
Although people might disagree with me, but that's how I feel about it.
Okay, cool.
My number 6 is another very, very, very impressive-looking iPhone game called Airmail, which is...
Airmail?
Airmail, yeah, as in airmail.
Yeah.
It is a playing game. It's kind of a cross between Crimson Skies and Paperboy, I describe it. It looks fucking brilliant. It looks like a decent XBLA game. It's in a proper polygonal 3D. It doesn't look like a high-end console game, but it looks like a low-end Xbox 360 game. I don't think it'll work on anything other than the latest iPads and iPhones. But yeah, it's a really, really nicely done game. You fly the plane around, and you're essentially like a delivery boy. But as the story goes on, like a war breaks out, and you're dodging bullets and things like that. I think it costs £3, so it's a bit expensive for an iPhone game, but it's, you know, you can see the value in it once you boot the thing up. It doesn't feel like a cheapo phone game. And because it's a playing game, you're controlling it with tilt. Almost exclusively is that you use one thumb to do the throttle. It still works really well. It doesn't feel compromised in any way. Yeah, I'm really, really impressed with it. I'm definitely going to play through a lot more of it. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those games where you can just shove the phone in front of someone's face and go, look what my fucking phone you can do, you idiot. Why did I got a Nokia or something? So... yeah, Airmail. It's a bit of a shit name, but it's also it kind of describes the game. So,
why is it? Are you throwing mail out of the side or something?
No, you sort of pick them up and you just drive through hours to drop them. But it's more about what happens in the story and stuff. I don't, not that it's a great story, but it changes what the game is. It's more about this kind of crazy things happen and bullets and shit. But yeah, it feels like. I mean, it must have cost over £1 million to make. It must have.
What?
The production values are that high.
Wow. Who published it?
Chillingo published it.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah.
Okay, understandable then. I might have a look at that. That sounds all right. My number 5 is Dragon's Dogma.
Oh yeah.
On the Xbox 360.
Did you find it?
I'll say first of all, I'm really enjoying it. I did about an hour and a half. I really like the combat. I have had no problems getting around. I've had no problems doing anything. The only thing I took issue with, and I was playing on the Xbox 360, there's a lot of screen tearing, there's a lot of pop-up, and generally it just looks kind of washed out and unpleasant, and I really started to... I didn't like the look of it at all, and it really started to put me off a little bit. So I'm lucky enough to... Luckily I had access to the PS3 version, so I put that on, and... Not perfect, but I think it's better. I read the article on Eurogamer the other day that compared them, and it said the Xbox 360 version is better. I'm just like, no way. I don't know how they came to that conclusion. Admittedly, I'm not a tech head, and I don't know. Most of the stuff they talked about in that article went straight over my head. But just if you put them side by side, any layman, any gamer will be like, that one. The PS3 one, it's smoother, it looks better. So I've done an hour and a half. I'm really liking it. I like the arcadiness of the combat. It reminded me of Amala, which I think everyone has decided they never liked in the first place now. Although I still think that was a very, very solid game. Yeah, and I'm liking it. Although you weren't kidding. You really weren't kidding about those guys not fucking shutting up.
Oh, mate, they do not shut the fuck up.
Go for his head. Chop off his head.
Yeah.
Go for his head. His head's the sauce is in his head. That's the way to beat him. Jeez. I mean, normally that stuff doesn't bother me, but it is just the gaps in between them speaking is like a second, if that.
Yeah. It's relentless and it never stops. I only started getting lost and confused about 8 hours in when the game opens up significantly. So yeah, that's when I started having those problems. But credit where it's due. Not everybody, but a lot of people who are playing it are loving it. They're loving it. And I mean, I wrote about this in my review on Video Gamer. I could see clearly how people were going to fucking love this game. I had a real feeling that if people took to it, they were going to love it. And I knew that I wasn't going to be one of them, and I knew I wouldn't be the only one as well who didn't love it. But that's why I had to kind of dilly-dally around my scoring and kind of judgment of it, because it's one of those unusual games where you can see the merit for a certain group of people. So it'll be interesting to see how you feel about it as you get a bit further.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. I mean, I could never fall totally in love with a game like this because it's not really my bag. But I'm appreciating. I mean, I'm finding it very, very enjoyable. Admittedly, I've only done an hour and a half. I've just killed that boss with the 3 heads.
The game's about to actually turn into the game now.
Okay, well,
that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm liking it. Although everything you said about it pretty much is true. Although if you have both consoles in your house, I'd say get the PS3 version. Experts say the 360 version. They don't know. Listen to me. Done.
Right, let's do it. My number 5 is a game on the iPhone again. Sorry, called Defender Chronicles 2. It's a tower defense / castle defense game. An iTunes review likened it to Diablo 3. Now, I haven't played Diablo 3, but I know exactly what that game is and what you do in it and the kind of feedback loop. This game isn't anything like that in terms of structure or how it plays, but it definitely has a similar, oddly addictive quality. It's really simple stuff, flat-planed castle defense. Enemies come down trying to get to the bottom from the top or to the top from the bottom. You have loads of places across the levels where you can build little huts where men come out and help you. Build loads of men, have them stab all the enemies, stop the enemies coming through. Easy. After about 30 seconds of each level, the screen is just awash with enemies and awash with your guys, and the whole game is about quickly looking and tapping where you need to upgrade your unit types and sort of managing the amount of gold that's popping up in the corner. So you're just constantly in this loop of feeling more powerful and upgrading and getting the money, and now I feel even more powerful. And it's really compelling. It's kind of there's an element of strategy to it, I'd say, in terms of which troops you place where and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's kind of empty. And I hear a lot of things like that said about Diablo. It's sort of magnificently designed emptiness. And this, while not quite on the same level, it certainly has that quality to it.
Yeah. That doesn't. I mean, tower defense games aren't my bag at all. But that sounds dry. Hey, freebie?
No,
of course not.
It's good. It's fun. I like it. It's a good game.
And
people who like those types of games will like it. There's an emptiness to it, but there's an emptiness to a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay.
They're still fun.
What does it look like?
Sort of nice high-res 2D, nice sort of hand-drawn images. No, more like, you know how Golden Axe looks?
Yeah.
Kind of like a flat version of that.
Okay.
Yeah, without those little fucking goblins that come and steal your potions when you're having a kip.
No, don't you hack them and they drop the potions?
Either could be true.
Okay, who the fuck knows?
Don't they come and nick something there, little cunts?
Oh no, you wake up at the campfire and they're running around. Oh, maybe they do steal your potions. I can't remember. Fucking hell.
We're so good at this job.
What was it called again? Sorry.
Defender Chronicles 2, generic 2.
Okay.
You won't remember. Don't get it. I mean, obviously.
Okay. All right. I've been told. Number 4 is Battlefield 3. I won't say much. The servers are just descending ever deeper into fuckery land. We went onto a server the other day, and the guy who created it said, "Me, his username, and so-and-so, their username, are the admins and moderators of this server. Have respect and obey us, or you will be booted and banned." And it's just like, what kind of people are these? I always had in my head that people who play Battlefield were really sound, and it's just a parade of the worst fuckers I've ever encountered in my life.
Do you think it's like absolute power corrupts type situation?
Probably.
Do you think that especially if you're younger and a little less, stable, although maybe. I don't think we could. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, but eventually if we had our own server, Chet and John Land or something, and someone came in and started smashing us for 2 hours in a chopper because they were really good at Battlefield, would we eventually boot them? I'd like to say no. I would honestly like to say no, but if we're in there with 10 of our mates and a couple of kids come in, it's fucking tough. I'd imagine a lot of other people don't even have the moral quandary about that. They're like, no, this isn't the way we want to play. And so they kick them straight away, and then it creates these fucking little tyrants that's sitting there supping on their energy drinks and goofing down Burger King.
I mean, the ebb and flow of Battlefield is, whenever we're presented with the situation, we all have to say, right, someone get a javelin, someone get a SOFLAM, someone drop ammo, and we'll take that fucker down. And we have to work to do it. And that's, I do think the air vehicles are a bit overbalanced. But yeah, being stuck in that situation, yeah, it's a problem. I do think DICE need to just put a few more servers back on. But hey ho, it's done. We played it. We did the patch in preparation for the close quarters, and we noticed a couple of weird things. Shotguns don't seem to connect if you get headshots up close with them, weirdly. The RPGs don't seem to kill anyone unless you actually physically hit them with it. If it lands a centimetre away from them, I wasn't getting kills. I don't know whether that was the server I was on, I have no idea, but I was quite happy with it. My friends were like, every time they try and fix something, there's 100 new fucking problems, and they were just riled. So whether that's... we'll see if that's just a bad first impression.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it. Apologies about the Battlefield 3 stuff, but I know the fuckload of people play it, so shouldn't apologise too much. We'll be talking about it at decent length next week because
Close Quarters.
We both play on Xbox, and Close Quarters is available. It's available now on PS3, but we don't play on PS3.
Two.
A compulsion for me next at number 4. A new jam, I call it. It's called Ring Fling. Yeah, that's what it's called, not Fling Ring. Ring Fling. Get this game. Get it for your iPad. It is the fucking mustard. It is air hockey, but 4-player on one iPad. You can fill in with AI instead of real players, and the little pucks are like star-shaped things, and you just fucking fling. Like you play at the speed of hungry hippos almost. You're flinging these little rings at them across the thing and trying to get the star into the opposite person's goal or zone or whatever you call it. If it goes in someone's zone, they don't get a point, everyone else does. So it's 1st to 10, right? So as the score racks up, you start creating these little alliances with other people that you're playing with. Like, it all happens within 10-20 seconds, all these little alliances. Then you'll fuck the other person over and quickly they'll be against you again. The whole thing takes 2 minutes, and honestly, you'll want to play it again immediately. You're like, another one. It's wicked.
4 people on an iPad. Oh, can you play this online?
No. It's think of it like a game that you'd buy from a shop, like a board game almost. But
so when you said you were when you were making allegiances with these people, were they just AI?
No, I was playing with people here.
Oh right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, they're unspoken allegiances that happen because you go, okay, well that person's got 7 and we both got 5, so we need to fuck them over quickly.
Yeah.
But then they'll get 6, and then you quickly try and stitch them up, or there'll be an accidental deflection and it'll end up in the other person's goal. But it's just, mate, it's quality. The Ring Fling on the iPad and iPhone, but it's better on the iPad.
God, can you imagine 4 people huddled around an iPhone?
Yeah, but to see him try. People will do it. It's fun as fuck. I think the person who made it's just one guy. I think he worked on Little Big Planet and things like that. I was looking at his blog, but it's really, really good. There's modifiers that unlock the more you play, and it changes the way it plays. They come in randomly. It's one of those games that's quite hard to describe, but yeah, everybody should play it. Make sure you're playing with other people though.
Okay. At 69p?
I think so.
Okay. Interesting.
I can't remember.
Ring Fling. My number 3 is Max Payne 3.
You did the single player, didn't you?
I'm doing New York Minute.
Oh yeah.
I think it's one of the games of the year. The more I play it, the more I just fall madly in love with it. One thing I completely overlooked was the music. Particularly in the second half. It's fantastic. I mean, it went over my head. I didn't really pay much attention to it the first time through, but it's just blown me away going through it again. Have you tried it a second time?
I played the first 2 missions on hard, and that was last week.
Are you going to watch?
I haven't been back to it.
Are you going to watch all the cutscenes again?
You have to, because they cover the game loading.
Yeah, I didn't realise that. Can it really be that extreme? I mean, like minutes upon minutes of cutscenes hiding the loading.
No, you can skip, but it'll tell you you have to wait to finish loading, and then once it has, you can skip. I think.
No, but that's what I don't understand. I mean, because I ended up I'm doing it on hard as well as New York Minute, and I'm just going to do it on a chapter by chapter basis. because you literally can't skip the cutscenes. I mean, like, it just says, still loading, but it does.
I like them though, so that would be part of the experience of playing the game for me. I like the way it's styled, so I wouldn't want to skip them.
I don't mind them, but I just don't have the time to sit through them again because some of them are pretty long.
Yeah, that to me that's part of the playing the game for me. But yeah, I like story like that. You know me. Yeah. I've never had a massive problem with cutscenes, and back in the day, you used to be defiantly anti them, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like a long time ago. So
they have come on in leaps and bounds though back.
Yes.
I mean, I hated them so much. But as much as I adore the game, I say this only out of mad love. I think they fucked up the final boss battle. I mean, fucked it up royally. It's one of the most irritating. Just like, what are you doing? What have you doing? I mean, it really just drove me insane. You did the boss battle, obviously.
Yeah. The thing is, I think you're probably right, but because I mentally prepared myself by that point, going into the last level at how hard it was going to be, and I kind of got into this zone where I was so super careful and playing at the absolute height of my Max Payne capabilities that I did it on my second go. So I could see how it's going to drive people insane, but I was so fucking zoned in that I did it on my second go. So it couldn't possibly have annoyed me because most boss battles in any game take more goes than that. But I know what you're going to say. You're probably right.
No, but it's not so much that it's difficult, because that's fair enough. I mean, a good boss battle can be ridiculously hard, but you just have to be smart enough to find a way around it. The problem I have with this is that they could have just made it hard and made it so that you have to work out a way around it. Fair enough. Or they could have made it easy enough so that you can do it in one or two goes. Fair enough. What they've done is they've made it impossible, essentially, on the harder difficulty settings anyway, because I've just done it on New York Minute. And you keep dying, and then you get more and more ammo, and then you get more and more painkillers, and then you get more ammo and painkillers. Every time you die, you keep being given more stabilizers.
Well, that's the case of the whole game.
No, but I mean, there's no spikes that are as ridiculous as this. That guy's grenade launcher is one-shot kill, dead. And oftentimes you can't be looking at him because there's a million guys in front of you.
You have to shoot his grenades, though.
Yeah, but you can't keep an eye on when he's going to throw them, when he's going to sort of launch them, because you've got to keep an eye on the chaos that's happening in front of you. And just the way that it's like you have to grind to do it. And it's like, I don't feel like that was like a solid 45 minutes I spent redoing the same bit.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I just did it second go, but I could imagine another parallel universe where it would have taken me that long as well.
Yeah, but I mean, that can be annoying if, at the end of it, you're like, I finally did it because I figured out that I had to do that and that and that. But I didn't. I just had enough painkillers, and I just had enough bullets, and I just dived out of the way by chance when he threw the grenade launcher. So that's the one thing that bothers me about the game. But otherwise, pretty much a masterpiece, I reckon.
Yeah, it's not as bad as the final mission of GTA 4 either, which is hellish.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, mate, it makes the Max Payne 3 thing look like fucking Kirby's epic yarn.
Okay.
It's contentious. Right. My number 3 is Gravity Rush. I talked about it last week on the beta.
Yeah.
So last week, I said the stylings of it, the fact you're playing like a little girl in peril, all that kind of stuff fucked me off. The music fucked me off a little bit. I went back to it this week, and I really, really like it. I kind of got over my initial misgivings about the game. They don't bother me anymore. In actual fact, the girl's quite funny, and I don't like using the word sassy because I don't really know what it means. What is sass? I don't know. But she's quite funny, sarcastic girl. But the beauty of the game is how you move around this world, and that's what has been said in the reviews. And with my broken brain, it took me a little longer than most clever people to get my head around it, probably. But you can change the gravity and jump in the air, aim your little thing to where you want, and then press the button again, and the gravity will go in that direction. But what I was struggling with at first is if you're on the side of a building, I was thinking this is like Mario Galaxy, and I can just walk over the top of the building and be on the roof. But you don't. You walk up the side of the building, and then once you're off it, you just fall in the direction the gravity is. Once you get your head around it, you can just stop it and then move on and move around the world and fly all over the place and collect the little gems and do the missions. And the story's quite fun so far as well. And just to change your heart, getting what people are talking about now. and it definitely seems like the best original thing on Vita.
Is it a box product or is it DLC?
I think it's a box product.
Or both?
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet?
It's not out yet. No, it's out next week, I think.
Oh shit, I thought it was out.
Yeah, it's been out in Japan for a while, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember reading
I think it's both. Well, everything's downloadable, isn't it, on Vita? But I'm pretty sure it is a box product. It feels like a proper game.
Okay.
It's very stylish and cool. I still don't like the music though, but whatever.
Well, it's nice that Vita owners have got something decent finally.
Yeah, and it's a bit disappointing what came out of the Sony press conference, that there just wasn't any games. I mean, there's Assassin's, fine, but if I'm going to do Assassin's 3, it's going to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
And the Call of Duty game, but is it going to be cross-compatible with... Yeah, exactly. I just want... Even if it's just 3 cool-looking first-party games for the rest of the year, that's enough. That does me on 3DS. You know, that does me on Nintendo consoles. And Sony first-party stuff is normally pretty fucking good. But nothing, really?
Yeah, pretty...
That's really upsetting, because that thing wasn't cheap, you know?
Yeah, it does make you wonder. They must have thought about what they were doing. Yeah, completely mystifying. Completely mystifying.
Such a beautiful machine as well. Such a great piece of tech.
Yeah, and games all help sell it. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed.
Okay, my number 2 is Mario Tennis Open on the 3DS.
Oh shit! I forgot that even existed. How is it?
It's okay, verging on pretty good.
Right.
Did you play the GameCube one that got ported to the Wii?
No, the last one I played was the N64 one with you at university. Fucking hell, that was a long time ago.
That was what I loved that though. Because that was actually a tennis game. The problem with the GameCube / Wii one, they piled all this chaos.
They turned it into the Super Strikers, just nonsense.
Yeah, it was just a headache, a horrible, unrewarding headache. This is, if not the halfway point between the N64 and the GameCube one. I mean, it's nearer to the N64 one in spirit. It's actually really, really fun, but I haven't quite worked out if the central dynamic completely breaks the game or not. Basically, every other shot, a little panel will appear on the ground, and if you run and stand in it and then take your shot from there, either something weird will happen, like the ball will curve round, or it will sort of be really powerful, or it will stop short of the other player. But if you are used to playing tennis game, like I always do a couple of lobs and then rush the net and then try and sort of fuck them over like that. You can't do that, because if they stand at the back and you try and screw them and they hit it while they're standing on a panel, they've won.
That sounds like I'd absolutely fucking hate it.
To be honest, I was sort of teetering on the brink. 1 minute that happened, the next minute it didn't, and the next 1 minute it felt like a really fucking cool tennis game, and then I don't know. I haven't made my mind up. I'm annoyed that they haven't made ring shot front and centre, because that's always been the best mode of Mario Tennis. It's on there, but sort of it's in the background. It's like a little mini game, and there's not much to it. You can get gold, silver, and bronze. It's nothing really. And the online, I don't know. The online slick. It's nice to see a Nintendo console that really knows what it's doing online. There's swift matchmaking. I've played against 3 people who I don't know, 3 random people. All of them, in every single shot they did, hit the ball so hard that rather than return the ball, my character would be knocked back, and then I couldn't return their next shot.
Yeah, I'm not going to play this game.
But every shot, I'm like, I've learned how to play the game. They're not standing on a magic panel or whatever, but completely maddening. Is it a cheat? I don't know. I haven't played it enough. Basically, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's actually pretty good. It's just that I need to play it more. Basically, I'm quite happy with it, and I'm going to play it some more. But there are things about it that could annoy. I'm just glad it's not the GameCube Wii one again.
So it's better than that.
Yes, definitely, unquestionably. Right. And I think my positive reaction was towards the end of me playing it. So I started off thinking, this is a shitload of absolute rubbish. And towards the end, I was like, you know what? I'm actually really enjoying this now. But I'll tell you more about it later, next week, whatever.
Cool. Right, so my number 2 is Pixeljunk 4am.
Oh wow, you got it.
Yeah. You told me you talked about it last week, and I knew that it was going to be the game for me, and it is. Oh mate, I just absolutely love it. I just think it's masterful. For those who haven't played it, should we give a brief rundown of what it is again?
If you like.
Sweet. So very, very quickly, you have the Move controller, a visualizer going on in the background, and then they call it a virtual musical canvas. So you point the Move controller into one of the 4 directions, having pressed one of the 4 main buttons, and you'll feel a vibration. You grab whatever that vibration is with your trigger, yank it back into the screen, and it is, it's a track, I guess, out of 4 tracks: bass, synth, hi-hat, and sort of kick drum. And you create... What's the type of music? Is it like deep house, progressive house? I've got 2 up on my technical music.
I don't know. It's tech house probably. It's difficult to describe. I think a lot of the songs are actually quite different, but I wouldn't lump them all into a genre. But yeah, tech house kind of.
But it's not that kind of like peaks and troughs trance. It's more like a sort of continual. The smallest little changes you make are where the music kind of achieves what it's setting out to achieve. Yeah. So you'll fade out your little hi-hat and bring in a different hi-hat track, and it will change things, and you just sort of slowly build this kind of audio landscape, I guess you'd call it. But the coolest thing about it by far is the fact that you can watch people's performances and they can watch yours.
Yeah.
So one that I was playing, I had about 15 people watching me at one point, and every time I did something cool, they can shake their Move controllers and give you kudos, which comes up at the bottom of the screen. You get little points for it. So I felt like you said it last week, I felt like a DJ in some cool club. Every time I dragged in a new track and dropped it exactly the right time and tweaked it, I was getting all these people cheering me. And I mean, I was just dancing around my room like an idiot. I was absolutely loving it. I must have played one level on it, one sort of group of tracks for about 40 straight minutes, because I felt like I was entertaining these people from around the world, wherever they are. I think it's been criminally misrepresented in the press so far. It hasn't been reviewed by a lot of the major sites yet, but and some of the reviews it has had, I think people have misunderstood what it is, or not given it the time it deserves, or they don't. I mean, I love video games that combine music and gameplay and experimental stuff. That is something that I'm quite passionate about. So it's frustrating that they've created something so brilliant, I'd say, and it's currently sitting on a 60 on Metacritic, which is probably putting a lot of people off.
Ridiculous, that
shelling down the £6 because it is an amazing piece of work, and probably the best thing about the Move so far, which itself is a fucking amazing piece of tech, and I wish there was some more games for it, because it's the real deal for motion control. That. Yeah,
it really is. I'll just redirect anyone to that video on YouTube, because it's really it doesn't convey what the experience is like, but it shows you what it is, and if you don't think that's cool, you're insane. But yeah, I mean, I haven't played it again, but it's just one of those games where I'm just like, that's why I own a fucking PlayStation.
Yes.
For fucking games like this, just that nothing. I mean, I absolutely adore it. I'm going to play some more of it just for as long as I have the PlayStation. I think. I hope they do some downloadable content for it, because I'll be all over it. Whether they do, I don't know. But not that there's not enough. There's fucking plenty there.
Yeah, there's tons of tracks in there. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just phenomenal. Love it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to find out and learn a little bit about it, you can either download the visualizer part of it for free from PSN before you stump up the £6 for the interactive part, or check out that YouTube video. What did you tell me to type in? Basically,
just type
US
in
PlayStation blog.
I just literally, if you type in Pixeljunk 4am, it's the first or the second hit, and it's a picture of one of the developers, who I have to say, no offence, looks like a smackhead, holding the thing out.
And it's a PlayStation blog, isn't it? US PlayStation blog.
PlayStation blog, yeah. So
yeah, watch that.
Yeah.
It's not a game that's for everyone, but if you're like-minded in this respect, then you got to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, my number one, appropriately enough, or well, a nice segue anyway, is Rocksmith on the PlayStation 3.
Oh crikey, yeah. How's that going?
It's pretty damn special. It's hard to describe. It's what I'll say from the off. If anybody is operating under the misapprehension that this is going to somehow make learning to play the guitar easier, no chance, because there's no such thing. You can't simplify learning to play the guitar. It's an incredible undertaking, and it's just a tool, and it's a very, very thoughtfully designed tool. I've played it for about 3 hours, and already, as someone who's never held a guitar in my life, never had any inclination to play one, I'm already doing stuff with it, and it's just that they've covered so many bases, and it's so unintimidating, and it works flawlessly. For a guitar, you think there's got to be a bit of give. There's got to be it's from the second you turn it on and you tune your guitar, you're like, fuck, how does it know that? It's remarkable. There were a couple of times where I'm like, this doesn't work. This is fucking rubbish. I looked down and my fingers had drifted to the wrong fret. It really truly works. Technically it's incredible.
So for people who don't know what it is, it's like a sort of mix between Guitar Hero and a real guitar tutorial.
The aim of the game is to very slowly teach you how to play the guitar. I really want to see how deep it goes, because the potential is there for it to be the kind of thing that would be in like schools and stuff, because it's so very careful about how basically. For example, there's so many different ways that you can get used to where your fingers are supposed to go. There's the white dots that are on every guitar. There's the white dots on the side of the fretboard that are always on every guitar. They put numbers on the screen, so if that's the way your mind works, you can you'll sort of draw your inspiration. You understand where to go based on those numbers. That's not how my brain works. How my brain works is that there's a mini game you unlock early on called ducks, and it's basically a duck will come up on the fret, you move your finger to the fret, the colour of the duck is the string, you strum, you zap it, and because it was a game, I was like, I had to completely subconsciously I was like, I have to figure out how to move from there to there quicker. So completely without anything, no thought process involved, I realised that I had to start using the dots on the side of the fretboard on every guitar, and by the end of the game I was moving up and down the fretboard, and I just thought, fuck, that's just without completely slyly has just taught me something that could not have been a teacher couldn't have taught me to do that. I wouldn't have learned it just playing the game, but the weird compulsion to shoot those ducks made me move around like I was actually playing guitar. It's really weird. And
sounds brilliant.
But there's so many different ways. There's other ways, like there's slow a song down, you play it, when you nail it, it gets ever slightly faster. There's just there's so much to it. There's so many different ways. If something doesn't work for you, there's something else you can do.
So I'm at a level on guitar that I'm probably the same level as those twats who take acoustic guitars down to the beach or to a barbecue and ruin everyone's day. But I would never do that. But I'm probably about that level. I know the chords. I can do bar chords and things like that. But I'm not. I wouldn't say I could play guitar. Is there a level where I can go in and it can take me from there? Or?
It completely adapts to you. So
right.
I think at the moment I think it adapts a little too quickly. So if I if I'm playing a song, the song that I keep playing now is Franz Ferdinand, Take Me Out. I don't know why. The song's fine. It's not one of my favourite song or anything, but for some reason I feel like I know what I'm doing with it. And if I'm like, yes, I just fucking nailed a really difficult part, it'll get harder straight away. And then you'll fuck it up, and then it'll kick you back down. Whether that levels out, I'm not sure, because the longer I played it, it seemed like it wasn't taking that. It was sort of giving me a bit longer to sort of do well before it upgraded. I mean, that might all be in my head, but it seems just like. But as I said, it's not gonna. If you want to learn to play the guitar, and you think this is a shortcut, there's no such thing.
No.
So I mean, but everything. The way they say, if you can't do this, try that. All of those, and the way they implement that into the gameplay is incredible. Obviously there are some things, like I've just started doing palm mutes, where you put the side of your palm at the bottom of the fretboard, but at the end of the strings, then you pluck the notes, and it makes more of a sort of kind of percussive sound. I was having real problems with that, and it says, if you're having problems, try moving your hand a little bit up, or try moving your hand a little bit down, or try strumming the notes harder, or try strumming the notes softer. I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, you just said... But that's because that's the kind of thing you have to just adapt to. You have to learn it yourself. There's no science to it. Everything that there is a science to, they've implemented something very clever, and it's just, I've never played a guitar before. After 3 hours, I'm not playing a song or anything, but I know what I'm doing with my hands and stuff, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm probably going to speak about it every week, which I hope doesn't bore anyone. But remarkable. I hope when it comes out over here, Ubisoft send it to like lifestyle magazines, so that people talk about it in Sunday papers and stuff, because the scope for it to be something that parents buy their kids, because it's not really a game. It is a really, really neat way to learn the guitar above all, and or people implementing it into schools and stuff. I mean, I'm really, really impressed just how well it works and how clever it is. So, but I'll talk about it with a bit more knowledge next time.
Yeah, it sounds extraordinary, to be honest.
It is. It really is.
I want to play it or use it or whatever.
Yeah.
So my number one is probably something equally as technical, although very, very, very different. It's Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown on PS3.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played Virtua Fighter 5 since it came out, which is 5 years ago, amazingly enough. And I didn't play it that much when it came out. For some reason, it just didn't grab me as much as Virtua Fighter 4. But this version, which is the kind of honed, refined version of all their updates over the last 5 years with a couple of extra characters thrown in, it's absolutely magnificent. I did the review for it. I was close to dropping a 10 on it.
Jesus.
It scored a 9 in my review. Purely because there's customizable stuff that you have to pay for. I think that was the only reason it didn't reach all the way up to full marks. But I should talk about the game itself. I'm not a huge VF guy, are you?
Yeah, you say that, but the only reason I always say I don't like Virtua Fighter is because the only one I've ever played, or the only one I've ever seen, is the first one, where you jump and it takes 5 hours and you fly into space and then land, and it's like Polygon Central. I hated it.
Yeah, all right. I really, really hope that you play this one. It's two things I want to say about it is the kind of myth about Virtua Fighter that it's really, really hard to get into, and it's not. It's a really, really complicated game at the higher levels. There are a ton of moves, but it is not a difficult game to get into. You can't button bash, but you can't button bash in Street Fighter either. So, while that puts off the Tekken and Soul Calibur crowd, it shouldn't put off someone who's reasonably serious about fighting games. There's only 3 buttons, kick, punch and guard, but each character has like 150 moves off that. But what has always impressed me most about Virtua Fighter is the fact that it is a game about martial arts, and they all are, but this game is in love with the martial arts it represents. It doesn't just replicate their movements like Tekken does. You've got Taekwondo guy in Tekken, the grappler in Tekken, who have those moves, but they largely play either in the same way or as fighting game archetypes. These guys fight and play like how those martial arts are meant to work. There's an MMA girl in it who has 2 different stances, one that is sort of more takedown heavy, one's more striking heavy. If you knock her down, you can hit all 3 buttons and you'll like land on your back, so you basically you're in guard and jiu-jitsu, and you can start fighting people off your back. It just understands the martial arts, and couple that with a really, really exciting dynamic fighting system, a lot of unbelievable amount of depth, really exciting fights, and such a balanced roster. Man, I really, really hope that you get into the Virtua Fighter, because I think this one, downloadable on Xbox and PS3 for 10-12 quid, it's fucking fantastic. It's the best thing to get in so long.
If you had to compare it to another fighting game, what would it be?
It's not dissimilar to Soul Calibur or Tekken, really. It feels like a 3D fighting game that you can sidestep in. It's not hugely complicated at all. It really, really isn't. If you do, learn 5 moves of one of your characters, or pick one of the easy characters where you can almost button bash, you can get away with playing quite easily. But all you need to do is go into the dojo training mode, go through the move list once, and it's not like Street Fighter where you get to the high levels and it's impossible. You can do all the moves. Anyone can. They're not difficult to pull off. And suddenly you'll have an arsenal of about 20 moves that you've remembered, 5 good ones that you're definitely going to use, and suddenly you start to develop a game for the character that you like. And as you progress, your game will get better, just like it does in any fighting game. But it's so damn good. It's just so damn good.
Did you play it with a pad or the stick?
I actually played it with a pad because it was PS3, and I don't have a stick on PS3, but thankfully the PS3 pad isn't shit for fighting games, and I played Virtua Fighter 4 on PS2 to death, so I was alright. But I will be getting it on Xbox and playing on stick, because it is better on a stick.
How much is it?
I think it's 12 quid. I think it's 1,200. Well, what's 1,200 Microsoft points? It's that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Does anyone know?
Yeah, 10 quid, 12 quid, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not much. It's not much at all.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I don't know why I've always had... It's because I always associate it with that fucking ridiculous first game, which I always thought, it's like, what is that?
Yeah, scrap that. That was just... Well, I mean, that's a cool game in its own right, but that was like a sort of sign of the times type thing. But Virtua Fighter 2 is where the game started to be what it is now, I'd say.
Is it
and
out
this
now?
is just masterful. Yeah, it's out now.
Okay.
If you get into it, it would be great because we'll have Rocks at the same level and excitement as we have on Street Fighter, but it feels so different to Street Fighter. It's like another great game to play. There's nothing that fucks you off like in Soul Calibur or the cheap shit and cheap characters. It's so finely honed. I could talk about it for ages. I need to shut up, but yeah, VF5.
Shit.
Get it.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll do that. I'll do the trial at the very least, boy.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much for listening. That's us done. Once again, never before has our 20 games in 40 minutes thing been any more of a fast than it is now, because I think we're running at just under an hour. But thank you very much for listening. If you haven't already, please check out the site, www.thefiniteplaylist.com. All of our Twitter details and stuff are on there. Yeah, see you next week, hopefully.
Yeah, peace out. Sorry for waffling about Virtua Fighter.
Exotic, mysterious, exciting, and with a huge mansion with acres and acres of sand.